Yo, what is up? So I'm on the XTX and I'm on Linux as well because we are going to try out FSR 4 and I haven't had enough time to install more than 2 games really. Uh, Not using FSR 4 anyway because so I did manage to get into this one. I don't know if it's going to be more difficult on 7000 series GPUs like RDNA 3 because I installed it on this and then it crashed. Then I literally had to go into the game file and sort of force it in, but I've managed to get the OSS up anyway. The other thing you will need for 7000 series GPUs, you will need the Mesa GIT drivers. So in Catchy OS it is Mesa GIT and that's what I've installed. So you just click that, otherwise these commands won't work. So I've obviously installed it. So the commands you will need is again I think it's I'm gonna have to investigate more, but in my experience it's just working in Steam mostly, these commands, but I will have another go at it. So well we seeing it, yeah. So this is the command you will need. So I've just wrote a few notes down because I'm literally learning all the time, and so that's just for ultra wide. In certain games you would need to download fixes and stuff from Nexus, so I've had to do that in Final Fantasy 16. So there is a lot to learn on it, as I've said, but yeah, you will need Mesa GIT drivers, otherwise the commands won't work. You get bleeding edge, so that's a sign you've basically got all the protons you need. But I'll just use a Catchy OS Proton, the latest one, and then you will need this command here. So that, and so that's quite interesting. So I've literally just making sure that, because I did start recording and I was getting that it just kept cutting out, so I just reinstalled OBS because I was on the 9070 XT before, so I think it was something to do with a different encoder, I don't know. But I just reinstalled it and it seems alright now. So I did get in this, so I just basically forced it in. So that's just, you literally need that in every game, this command, mango HUD, just to get your FPS up. That's the ultra wide because this game was annoying for that, so I've had to force that in just to get the ultra wide screen. And then this is the command I was talking about, and then you just end it with %command %. Then that should work as long as you've got it on the Mesa GIT drivers. So you will have to download that because it doesn't come in with the installed package on here, because you go in here, you just system update, but it just gives you the stable drivers. So these are like the experimental drivers really, what you need. So it's a bit like the bar art to do that on there, so I needed Mesa GIT. So I don't know if Optiscaler is gonna, it worked in this game, but I don't know if it's gonna be as user friendly as on the 7000 series. I'll have to see how that goes in the next couple of days, you know, see what happens with that, see if it's the same, because I think a lot of the time it will, if you put FSR 4 on, I think it was crashing a couple of times when I first tried it, so I just had to do the commands in the alters. I had to do it. So we'll have a look at this, and then we'll have a look at, first I'll go in there first actually, have a look at this one. It's quite interesting. So this game runs really well, this game, because I was getting like 400 FPS so on the XTX. So we are at ultra wide 1440p, looks like sound's going to be loud, so I'll have to turn that down as per usual. But it did seem to knock the FPS down a fair bit on this game for some reason. So I don't know. It could be because the commands are literally not working on this game. I think it is because I did do that. It was a bit loud at first when I did that. Yeah, so I did try the commands in this game, but I think it's because it's only got bloody FSR 2.1 in the game. It's not working. I think it needs to be 3.1 on the Linux for their commands to work. I think that's the case anyway. That's what I'm thinking logically, because it weren't working. Whereas with Optiscale, I've managed to do that on Windows to get 3.1, just update to 3.1 in Callisto Protocol and other games. Anyway, this is so I'm pretty sure I left it on DLSS, so I've used Optiscaler. I can't get the menu up in this game. That seems to be a consistent theme in quite a few games compared to Windows. So I've had to manually force it in. As I've said in my previous videos, you just go into Opti-Ini settings where you install Optiscale in that folder. So it's on that, and these options are quite annoying, you know. So I'm going to have to reset it because it won't let me change the upscaler. So if I put on that, so it's not got it. I don't believe it is working with this, the FSR 4. So I'll turn that off because it captures bloody FPS. Quite annoying, these settings, you know. But it's a decent game, Dragon Edition, but it's a low budget sort of game, I think. Oh, it's done that bloody VSync again, isn't it? So every time you reset the settings, it puts bloody VSync on. So why is it gone to 60 now? Oh, right. Yeah, it's bloody, it does that and puts, right. Right, so now my FPS, it's doing bloody really well now. I mean, getting close on 400 FPS. So it literally was 400, but looks like recording is knocking it down by quite that's, yeah, it's interesting. So that's knocked about 15 FPS off, I think. Anyway, it's always, every time I record in Yakuza games, this is what happens. I ain't played this for a while, this game. It's not your typical Yakuza game. Makes you laugh. I literally loaded this up a couple of times, and this is the first time they've decided to pick on me. There's a stubborn fucker, isn't it? Some sort of boss, is it? Some sort of sub-boss with that health bar. Like that, you prick. Right, so if I can get back to what I was doing before I was rudely interrupted. Right, so it is a bit more blurry, obviously, with FSR2. I don't know why they've literally put, I mean, it's not even that old, this game, I don't think. It's unlike them, but they obviously got XES in, so I don't know, they could have easily put that in. Anyway, so we go to DLSS, and now I believe it is activated, FSR4. Because look how much the FPS goes down, boy. So, I mean, literally lost about 60 FPS or 70 FPS. That goes up and down, but so I believe it is on the FSR4. Yeah, it does look more visible with the image quality when I'm looking at my character. So it's again, this game is doing really well anyway in FPS, so it literally don't matter. I mean, it's still above my refresh rate of 240 Hz. So this is working with Optiscaler. So no worries whatsoever really in this one. It's not the best game for visuals anyway, this one, so you can't. It just cleans it up slightly when you're looking at the buildings and stuff like that, and obviously your character. I think that's where you see the biggest difference really, looking at the NPCs and your character. So that's pretty good. So it's working fine. Although it was a pain in the arse to get it to work in this game. So, because as I said, the commands wouldn't work. Left it in there anyway, but it ain't doing nothing that bit. So, we'll move on to the next game. So Mango HUD for the FPS, and this is a command here. That's what you need, and you just end it with a command as usual. And that's the one I'm using. You can use this one as well, I believe. But I'll just carry. This is the latest catchy OS Proton, so I'll just stick with that. And in this game, it just literally comes up in the menu like it does on Windows. FSR 4, so it replaces FSR 3. So at 1440p, if you're using FSR 4, it definitely on the Linux at the moment does seem pretty playable, to be honest. In the games I've only tested 2 so far, I will obviously in other games it will be a bit tighter. So, but the good thing is you can go balance performance, and it still look better than FSR 3 even on the performance mode. So that is the advantage with it. But it will run slower on the 7000 series, so you need to be wary of that. But on there you're getting at least 100 FPS. And again, on the catchy OS, it does seem to load the textures in far quicker, so that's interesting. I don't know what was going on with Nabara. So I don't know if I mean, I was having a lot of artifacts and all that, so this is why I've stuck with catchy OS, to be honest. So if we just have a look, the advantage you can actually put on TSR on there. Right, so that's gone up to 140 FPS. So you're losing about, well, was it 110 FPS I think we was getting, wasn't it? That's still very playable, although it will go down outside once you get outside, but it did on a 90% XT. There you are losing a fair bit. Again, I don't think it's gonna be great until AMD support it themselves and do something, because I think they will literally release their own version, so it's not going to be exactly the same as a RDNA 4's version. That's what I think, but it's definitely smooth airlock. So we go outside, just want to see. Oh yeah, that's alright. Only one F. Well, for this game it's definitely playable. especially for this game, it's not a game where you can literally battle with 60 FPS. This game. Let's have a look. Let's go straight to performance. See how it looks. That's just the. I don't know if there are artifacts or. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's just all the effects, special effects. So that's not changed, so that looks pretty good. That's just all the dirt going around them. I thought there were some artifacts at first there, but that's just all. This is a new era I've got to, so I've just got into this mission. So yeah, I mean that is pretty good for FPS, definitely for this game. So I think it will depend on what game you're playing. Obviously the Unreal Engine 5 games, I think that's where you're probably gonna have to maybe put a few settings down, stuff like that. But then you can always go performance and what's this? No frustration. What's happened to him?
What's going on? I'm dizzy.
Alright. So I think what I would say is it doesn't look quite as good yet as RDNA 4 does. I think what it's using is using the FSR 4.0.0. So that is the version just before the latest one we got now. So that's probably what it is. So, but it still looks far better than FSR 3. So I think that's the only difference really. I mean there's a slight bit of artifact in there, but it's quite impressive how good it looks already, to be honest. So no doubt once AMD implement it themselves, I mean they've got it now people on Linux are doing it. So it's pretty amazing that it's looking that good, considering it's literally a beta feature. So that's pretty impressive. So I will look at some other games, see if I can get in that. A few other games I want to try out and just see how much FPS it knocks off. That's why I'm doing it. So I want to find out more information for myself, like is it usable in the 7900 XTX, and it's good for other people to see how it's looking really. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.